Randall Cunningham is a former NFL quarterback whose name still carries weight in football history, not because of tragedy or hidden decline as sensational online headlines often suggest, but because of a career that was ahead of its time, full of athletic brilliance, reinvention, and a life after football that moved in a very different direction than the spotlight he once lived under. And when people see phrases like beyond heartbreaking, it usually reflects internet storytelling rather than his actual reality, because Cunningham's story is not one of collapse but of evolution, starting from his rise with the Philadelphia Eagles in the 1980s, where he became one of the most dynamic quarterbacks the league had ever seen, combining a strong arm with rare mobility that helped redefine what the position could look like long before modern dual-threat quarterbacks became common. And during his prime, he earned Pro Bowl selections and MVP-level performances, thrilling fans with long scrambles, deep passes, and improvisational plays that made him one of the most exciting players of his era, even though his teams did not always reach ultimate postseason success. And after his time with the Eagles, he later played for the Minnesota Vikings, where he experienced one of the most remarkable late-career revivals in NFL history, nearly leading the team to a Super Bowl appearance in the 1998 season, showing that even after years in the league, he could still perform at an elite level. When given the right system and supporting cast, but like all professional athletes, his playing career eventually came to an end, not in tragedy but in the natural conclusion of time and physical wear. And what makes his post-football life especially important to understand is that he chose a path far removed from fame and media attention, dedicating himself to faith, family, and community work, becoming an ordained pastor and later engaging in coaching roles, including working with young athletes in Las Vegas, where he focused on mentorship and development rather than public celebrity status. And this shift often leads to misunderstandings among audiences who expect former stars to remain constantly visible, when in reality many athletes choose quieter, service-oriented lives after retirement, and Cunningham's transition is a strong example of that, as he moved from stadiums filled with tens of thousands of fans to local communities where his impact is measured more in personal influence than in televised highlights. And while he has experienced the normal challenges that come with aging, retirement, and life outside professional sports, there is no verified foundation for claims of personal tragedy or heartbreaking downfall in his current life, as he remains active, engaged, and respected for both his football legacy and his later contributions off the field. And part of what fuels misleading narratives about him is the contrast between his electrifying athletic prime and his quieter present-day life, which can be misinterpreted as disappearance or decline when it is actually a deliberate and meaningful lifestyle change. And at 62, his story is better understood as one of longevity, reinvention, and continued purpose rather than sadness, because he represents a generation of athletes who helped shape modern football and then moved into lives defined by values beyond the game, showing that legacy is not only what happens in the spotlight but also what continues long after it fades. And in that sense, Randall Cunningham's life is not a tragedy at all but a full arc of athletic greatness followed by grounded personal transformation, even if internet narratives sometimes try to frame it in a more dramatic and emotional way than reality supports.